All right, all right, Magic Makers, a little bit of a glitch there. All right, Magic Makers, we are going to talk about something that I don't think we spend a fair amount of time talking about. And, this is a time of year where I see you because I was you. And sometimes I'm still you. But I see that it's early November here, and I see there's like two paths that we can go down, right? We can go down the I'll just wait until January mode, or you are already mentally prepping like, all right, how do I end this year strong and how do I start next year even stronger? But here's what I really want you to consider. What if you didn't wait? What if we got used to doing things right now, like during this messy, chaotic pre-holiday season to actually figure out what works? Because here's the thing, January doesn't automatically give you clarity, right? I see some of you wake up on December, go to bed on December 31st, thinking that you're gonna wake up on January 1st, like, this is the year. And then like by January 10th, you're like, damn, this wasn't the year. I'm gonna sit back down and I'm gonna wait for the next year. Right? I don't want that for you. Right? January 1st doesn't give you clarity. It just gives you a date. And dates don't create change. Reflection does. And every year there's a woman, and I've probably been doing for the last 5 years. She does like a year-end challenge. And it's literally like we go back and every month you review like what happened, good, bad, the ugly. And I think for so many of the women that I work with, we totally skip over the good. We're like, we only zero in on the things I didn't do. Like, I couldn't resist the cookie. I didn't hit my protein goals. Like, I missed this. And then when you kind of like go back and look and you say, like, if you got the, like, I'm gonna say 70% of you did it 70% of the time in any given month, bravo. Bravo. Because no one's going to get a perfect score every single month. Every single month, I know something is going to happen. That's called life. It's kind of a play on the Prince, this magical thing called life. And I just want us to really sit back and let's do a real review. Not in the new year, new me energy, more like, where the hell am I? We're looking at our habits, your plans, figuring out what's working, what's not working, and how to build something that's going to last past February. I've been in the fitness field for this is going on, this will be my 20th year that I have been in fitness. Yeah. Oh my gosh, right? I could have a freaking adult at this point if I gave birth to my a child when I first started my fitness career. And in my fitness career, I've always taught some form of a group exercise class. And I'll tell you, I usually will teach, and I've always taught on Monday. For my entire career, I've always taught on Monday. Mondays and Fridays have been like my two standing days I've always taught on. And whatever that first Monday after January 1st, my class is packed to the gills. And then it's like it's packed until say like um Martin Luther King Day. Then I see my first step down. Then by I'd say mid-February, like President's Day, I see my second step down. And usually if you make it through February, I know I'm going to see you come May. I know I'm going to see you next January. But usually within the first 6 to 8 weeks of any given year, I see the noobs show up and then I don't see them ever again, or they pop up periodically. But I don't want you to be that noob. I don't want you to be that person who pops up periodically. I want you to be that person who's like, I'm here to like finally figure out how to be freaking consistent with this, right? Consistency wins all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. So consistency is easy for so many people. Like, oh yeah, consistency is easy when life cooperates, but girlfriend, life ain't going to cooperate. Your schedule is going to be light, but I see it in the beginning of the year. Schedules are still a little light. We're still trying to figure out what January looks like. Energy's high. Like you're still riding that new year, new me. Everything's clicking. It's feeling good. But then all of a sudden, your boss throws a unexpected deadline your hormones are raging and you didn't sleep the night before and you're juggling what feels like 47 flaming swords. I feel that. That's when you actually truly test your consistency. That's when shit get real. That's when the real work happens. That's when you know that your foundation is rock freaking solid. Like it is like so solid that that your whole fitness routine isn't built on a house of cards. So let's talk about where you get stuck. So let's talk about rewind. Let's talk about where you got stuck this year. Let's talk about where you shined. And let's talk about how to get back to the boring AF, like being consistent. This is what I do for a living. And so I remember I was at an event a couple years ago, and one of the speakers goes, your business should not excite you. If you're looking for your business to excite you, it's time for you to get a hobby. And so the same can be said for your fitness. Yes, I want you to be interested in what you're doing, but that shouldn't be the highlight of your day. For many of my women, maybe you too, like I would ask them like, what do you do to manage your stress? I work out. One of my clients is just as sassy as I am. She's like, I work out so I don't beat my kids, right? So if that's what you do, we need to help you find another hobby. And I get it because like for a lot of years, my hobby was working out. That's all I did. My whole freaking life revolved around working out. And so I know it. Like I was like, if I'm not in the gym, like what do you do? What do other people do? I'm like, do I crochet? Do I play shuffleboard? Do I play pickleball? What do people do? I don't know. And it was a long time for me to like really figure out like how to figure stuff out. So let's talk about, so again, let's talk about where we got stuck. Let's talk about where you shine. How do we get back to the boring AF basics? Because that's actually where you get results. And it's not with the hustles. It's not with the Sunday, like, color coded spreadsheets and the color coded containers in your refrigerator, right? So it's like I had a client actually it was around this time last year, and she said, "Girl, I only want to hire you for 30 days. I want to get this done and handle in 30 days." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't do that. I'm not for you, because this is what I know, right? I've been doing this 20 years, and over the course of the 20 years, I've worked with thousands of women, and I know that a 30-day transformation it does not exist." Especially for the women that I work with, especially for the women over 40. I know in 30 days you are just observing what you're doing. I am making you mindful of the habits that you have, the habits that are serving you, and I'm making you mindful of the habits that are no longer serving you, right? So at this point, you're trying to figure out what your patterns are. You're trying to figure out what your triggers are, and you're trying to figure out like where are the times when you're like, ah, screw it, I'm going to start on Monday, right? And I know that for most of you, it takes about 3 to 4 weeks to figure that stuff out. And then we can start to say, okay, how do we create better habits, better cues, better triggers so that the next 30 days can be better? The next 30 days can be better. And that's why, for most women, I only work with you for a minimum of 6 months because I know you. I know that it's like trying to make a tractor trailer make a U-turn. It don't come easy. It's not saying it doesn't come, but we give ourselves these unrealistic expectations, and then we're like we get pissed at ourselves, and instead of it being the process that we're trying to follow, we're like, it's me, it's a sign, and then I got to go off to find something else versus reviewing the process and making adjustments to either the timeline I've given myself or really being honest and like looking in a mirror, like, calling myself, am I being the asshole for thinking that I can get this done in 30 days? Um, so and I get that. I've had a client come to me. This is a couple of years ago. A client came to me, and she had been doing kickboxing for 6 weeks, and she signed up because the gym told her that she was going to lose 30 pounds by taking the 6 week kickboxing class. And you know what she got instead? She got a strained MCL. That's the inner ligament of your leg, and just got frustrated. She just kept showing up for class, frustrated and pissed off because the 30 pounds weren't magically dripping off her body the way they had sold her. And then the reason why this was a struggle because she picked something that wasn't realistic for where her body was right now. It wasn't planned around her actual fitness level, and it definitely wasn't sustainable. So she got hurt. And so she couldn't work out for months after that. And that's what happens when we chase these quick fixes instead of really building solid habits. Real change comes when you're no longer white knuckling your way through another 4 week challenge or 6 week challenge. It happens when you do what I call the reps: realistic, excited, planned, sustainable. Let me break that down. This I came up with this like God, probably like 6 or 7 years ago. And this is when, I was really at the height of my perimenopausal journey. And I was like, I have to do something different because everything I'm currently doing right now is literally making me want to drink. I'm not seeing any shifts in my body. And, I have the patience of a gnat. So I totally get the patience factor. And so I had to say, am I what I'm doing has to be realistic for my actual life, right? Not my Pinterest life, not the life I think I should lead, my life. So my kickboxing client, advanced kickboxing classes weren't realistic for her because she was just getting back into fitness. And if I was just getting back into fitness, I would not sign someone up for kickboxing. Or I would be like, hey, make sure you tell your instructor that you're a noob and you have to check your ego. Because I see it all the time in class, I'll be like, hey, my new folks, um, we're do like I used to do a lot of things for time was my class. It was the class was called for time. And so I would do a lot of things for time. So we'd be like doing 20-second intervals, 40-second intervals, a minute intervals. And I would always tell my new people, I'm like, hey, don't look left, don't look right, just do you. Don't try to keep up with anybody else in the room. We don't care. You are the only person that exists in the room and the sound of my voice. That's it. And then inevitably, someone would try to keep up with the other person, and then they would be like, "Oh my God, that class was hard." I'm like, "It was hard because you didn't check yourself, right? Is it Ice Cube? Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Check yourself before you wreck yourself, right? You want to be realistic, right? So if you're someone who's just getting back into fitness, a high intensity kickboxing class ain't for you, right? The goal is if you're planning for 6 a.m. workouts and you're not a morning workout and you have 3 kids, that's not realistic. That's a fantasy, right? Um, if you tell yourself you can work out 7 days a week and you got kids, if you got work out 7 days a week and you're commuting to the gym in February in Boston, the chances that there might be a snowstorm are high. So I want you to just start to like kind of be like realistic about what does your life actually look like. And you know me, I'm a big planner for like 90 days, 90 day segments, right? For today, for the next 90 days, what does my life look like? And for the most part, most of us can know what we look like for the next 90 days. I know for the next 90 days, if I'm looking at my calendar, I have 1 week that I'm traveling, and the rest I am home. I got bleep else going on. So now is a good day for me to put my heads down. But if you look 90 days out and you're like, oh, a kid's got a soccer match here, and then another kid's got, a dance recital here, and then you've got a work trip, like this isn't the time for you to go to heads down and just own it. That's your life right now. But doesn't mean you have to put things away. It's just like things have to shift. And I've done several podcasts talking about how we shift things with our season. But the second piece here is excited. I'm not saying you're doing cartwheels to the gym because guess what? I don't do cartwheels to the gym every morning. Today, I almost bailed in the gym because there's a half marathon in my town and I couldn't park near the gym and I almost bailed because I couldn't find a parking spot. So there's that. But you get there and it's something that you're into. Like, doesn't make you want to fake your own death to like get out of there. But maybe it's the playlist. Maybe it's the friend you're meeting. Maybe it's knowing how good you feel after. That's me. I'm always chasing the after. I know I feel really good after I move my body. And I know I would be ruminating if I did not go to the gym. And so for my client, she actually hated kickboxing. But she just wanted the results. She was so locked in on the 30 pounds in 6 weeks, 30 pounds in 6 weeks, that it wasn't excitement, it was desperation. And here's the thing, when you're a desperate dieter, you're always going to fall for the bullshit. And I know many of you listening here, you've been, right, I'm raising my hand, you've been that desperate diet and you've fallen for the bullshit and you're done. Like, we're done with the bullshit. Like, we're in our goldenish era that we are like, hey, I know I don't want to be sitting at the airport waiting for the wheelchair to come get me, but I'm for damn sure not going to be like, doing this crazy ass workout that lands me waiting for the wheelchair at the airport. The third piece is that it has to be on your calendar. I am a big calendar person. All my workouts go on my calendar. Every Sunday, I sit down and I say, this is what the week looks like. 9 times out of 10, my week doesn't really vary that much, but from time to time, I get a blip thrown at me. But I sit down and I'm like, this is my calendar. I typically work out on Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. My rest days are Tuesday and Friday. That's pretty much my week. Does it vary from time to time? Absolutely, but that's pretty much my week. And I want you to kind of see if you can get into that kind of rhythm, that kind of routine. You don't have to have it 5 days, but I'm asking, like, can you look at your calendar and find 2 days that you can carve out some time for you? You know, it's like and it's physically on my calendar. Like it's like 7 a.m. I'm lifting. I go to a gym 2 days a week, and it's a 6:15 class, right? So that's really what I want. It's like it's not like, oh, I'm gonna try to fit in. Oh, the day got away from me. Nope. It's like Tuesday 6 p.m. I'm doing this thing, and if it's not scheduled, it's a wish. I want you to put it in your calendar like it's a dentist appointment, and if you need to cancel it, because yes, life happens, reschedule, right? If you were a dentist, hair appointment, eye appointment, whatever, you wouldn't just like blow it off. You would call and be like, hey, can't make it. Can we reschedule it for this day? Look at your calendar, reschedule it. Or, I'm a big if then scenario. Have a contingency. Last week I ended up working on Thursday and Friday. So I shifted and I shifted it so that it was like, okay, Tuesday was no longer going to be my rest day. Tuesday was going to be a work day. Wednesday was going to be a work day. And I'm like, cool. Like this week, I'm only going to get 4 workouts this week, and that's okay. Right. And, if you've been listening to the show for a while, I always talk about my good, better, best. And my good is 3. And I knew I could easily, and I already knew I could get my 3, and I could squeeze in that fourth. And then we have to talk about sustainability. This piece right here, this is the the icing on the cake, right? This is the actually this is the pan for the cake, because if it is not sustainable, like if you're starting something right now and you can't see yourself doing it for the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, hell, 300 days from now on a random Tuesday when everything is going sideways, can you do this without injuring yourself, without dreading it, without feeling the need for perfection? Because if it's not sustainable, right? So many of us, yeah, I can gut anything through for 30 days, right? Hell, I used to gut things through for 12 weeks doing a show. But I'm like, I don't have that mental stamina anymore. And I'm asking you, like, unless like I was prepping for a show, right? What are you prepping for? And I'm not saying this to belittle you. I'm saying that, like, I want you to start enjoying life a little bit more. And I want your life to be more than I'm counting my calories. I want it to be like I'm prepping so that I am the grandma who plays on the floor with their kids. I'm prepping so that I'm the grandma who can go kayaking with my kids. I'm prepping so I can climb stairs, like, and I'm talking like 4 or 5 stairs without feeling winded. I have a woman who takes my class, Tammy, and she loves playing with her grandkids, loves being the fun grandma, but she gets banged up. She went kayaking and she has been in PT for her shoulder for the last 6 weeks, right? I want you to not be that grandma. I want you to be the fun grandma, but not like break yourself down trying to be the fun grandma. So we're trying to find things that are sustainable, that don't need perfect conditions, right? So if I'm living this right now, I'm trying to get back, and as I look, right, this is what I'm living right now. I'm trying to get back into tracking my food. And for me, it's been hard AF. I spent, I don't know, over a decade tracking my food, but it's been hard for me to find my rhythm. And I probably still dealing with a little PTSD on that part, but some days I'm on it, right? And then some days by like 2 o'clock, I'm like, I haven't done it, so why bother? But I'm not beating myself about it. I'm just noticing what my patterns are. I'm like, where do I forget? Like, how can I make this easier for me? And how am I making this harder? And that's the work, right? Not perfection, it's observation. So there's like really just kind of like, why am I not doing this? And I'm not beating myself up. I'm just kind of like, how do I make this easier for myself? But what I have been consistent at? I've been doing 30 days of breath work. And every single day, I'm going to say 80% of the time, I put my feet up against the wall, and for 5 minutes before I go to bed, I I do a little breathwork app. Ain't exciting. Honestly, it's boring AF, but it's realistic, right? It takes 5 minutes and it's sustainable. I can do it anywhere, right? All I need is a floor and a wall, and I'm done. And that's reps in action, right? It's small. It's just a little blip in the radar. It proves to me that I can do things even when I don't want to, right? And because it's only 5 minutes. And there have been times that I've been like, oh, I don't want to. And then I'm like, Kim, it's 5 minutes. And there have been times that I've been like, I've gotten home and I'm like, I am dead dog tired. And all I want to do is crawl into bed. And that's all I've done. But the more I've done it more times than I've just crawled into bed and just passed out. So now let's talk about actionable because you don't need this like new year, new me, right? You just need a new approach. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to review, we're going to reset, and we're going to reimagine. So, like I talked about, I do this planathon every single year. So let's look back at what we did this year, not from judgment, but from curiosity. What actually worked for you? What gave you energy? What drained you? What did it take? Oh my gosh, sorry. What what did you do that kept you from never being stuck? Like, how do we stop getting into that stuck cycle that we feel like, oh, I got to start all over again? Like, oh, this isn't working. Like, how do we start to like what is it that makes us feel stuck? And then we can really unpack and examine that and like get really specific. Don't just say I fell off my routine. Like ask yourself, when did you fall off your routine? What was happening? Was I overscheduled? Did I undersleep? Was I trying to do too much? You know, if I'm looking at myself in this food tracking, is that I'm trying to track the whole day versus now I'm like, I need to just give myself the 2 to 3 minutes after I eat and put the food in. Second thing I'm looking at is like, I pretty much eat the same things in the same rhythm every single day. So it's like, why can't I just at the beginning of the day when I'm having breakfast, write in the rest of the day? So all I have to do is edit versus like putting things in. So it's like, that's my review. And for my breath work, right? I attach it to something that I do every single day. I have a nighttime routine. This is just 5 extra minutes to my nighttime routine that I typically like 8:30. I'm like, all right, it's time to like start to wind it down. So now at 8:15, I'm like, all right, time to clean things up so I can get upstairs at 8:25 to start my wind down. That's what it is, right? So with my food tracking, I haven't found that anchor yet, but I'm still trying to figure it out. And this week I'm gonna try the morning right after breakfast, write in my stuff. And here's the part that people skip, right? You don't know what worked well. You don't know what you're proud of, or you don't give yourself credit for something. Like even if it's something small, like I'm gonna take the win on breath work. It's 5 freaking minutes, and I'm taking the win. Like, did you show up more days than you missed? Yes, I did show up more days than I missed when it came to breath work. Did you finally ask for help? Did you stop apologizing for taking up space in life? Do we celebrate any small win? Because you can't repeat what you never acknowledge. Like the client that I talked about with the MCL. Right? When we reviewed her year, she realized that she'd always been consistent walking her dog because, yeah, dogs are like, hey, if I don't go outside, I'm going right here. Your call. Or if I don't get enough exercise, I'm gonna wreck your house. You decide. So that was her win. So I'm like, okay, so we're already doing the dog. So I'm like, while you're out, could we listen to a walking meditation? So that also was a little bit of stress relief. When you come back from walking your dog, can we do 10 squats? Right? Or every time your dog stops to sniff something, can you do 10 squats? Or poop or pee or whatever your dog's doing outside, can we do 10 squats? So just something that you're already doing, but can we start to link something else to that? And that, and that started to be her win. Like we built from there instead of chasing some empty promise. I don't believe in empty promises. I'm like, where are you and how can I show you this small win? Because when you get this small win, all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, if I could do that, oh, what about this? And then what about this? The next thing you know, you've built this great, amazing routine. And as we do this, like I said, we do this for you. This isn't about beating yourself up. It's about getting honest about where can we build? Like where are we doing really well and where are we doing that we can start to say, how do we break apart the so we can get better? And then step two is the reset, right? So we're clear. Like you can't go anywhere unless you have a clearly defined goal. And I talk about this all the time. GPS. I can't put in, I live in Boston, I can't put in Mass Ave because Mass Ave is a long ass street. I still have to Google how long Mass Ave is, how many miles it is. But anyway, Mass Ave goes through four towns. If I want to be in Lexington, I can't punch in one Mass Ave because I know that is in Boston and then be surprised with why I'm in Boston. Because Boston and Lexington, they look completely different, especially one Mass Ave. One Mass Ave is kind of like a little scary. So once we get super clear onto what we want, now is where we sit down and we make choices. Like, what are the choices? And I know you're probably like, you're sick of me hearing about this, but trust me, they work. We talk about the non-negotiables, right? The 1 to 3 things that you will carry forward. Then don't make them fancy. Simple. I talked with the client. She walked her dog. Can we get 10 squats? Could she listen to some type of uh, breath work, hypnosis while walking the dog, right? Can you move your body 3 days a week? Hit your water goal. Get to bed instead of doom scrolling, right? Not pass out on the couch watching Netflix. The goal isn't to do more. It's like to start to start working on the boring basics because a lot of times when clients check with me like I don't really have anything to say, it's pretty boring. Yes, you're welcome. You've now reached the zone, right? You've now made it to the zone because initially when I first started coaching, clients wanted me to give them something new every day, every week. Like, well, you didn't change anything because you're doing well. Why would I change anything? Right? That's it. You're doing well. I'm not changing anything. Let's set it and forget it until it's time to change something, until you start to veer off track, or until you start to say, "Hey, Kim, I'm going on vacation and I want to lose a few pounds." Okay, great. Let's start to zero you in. Oh, hey, Kim, I want to build a little bit of muscle. Okay, let's shift you and zero it in. But we're finding that like magic of maintenance, right? Because basics work if you do them, but we skip them because they're not sexy. We'd rather try some new supplement or do some new program than drink water or go to bed on time, right? Boring. So I want you to pick 1 to 3 things, write them down, and let's just focus on those for the next 30 days. That's your focus. It's not perfection. We're just practicing. We're just practicing here so that you don't wake up on December 31st and you're like, New Year, new me, right? So here are the 3 things that I want you to think about when you're writing out those 1 to 3 things. Make them realistic. Can you actually make them work? Look at your 90-day window here. Can you actually make them work for this current cycle in your life? Right? My client's hour-long kickboxing class was not realistic for her fitness level, right? But a 20-minute walk, realistic for her. Make it exciting. Find a small thing and make it not suck. A good playlist, a friend, um maybe it's like I like walking on the beach or like I like walking around water. So for me, like if it's I always have to live in a place that I have easy access to the water because I probably wouldn't walking in a neighborhood and being like, oh, Sal put up the Christmas lights, oh, Sal took down the Christmas lights, oh, put up the Easter sign, oh, took down the Easter sign. Boring, but that's me. So you decide like what's your thing. I also love a good, audio book in my ear, right? So that's how I like make things exciting for me. Put it in your calendar, like for the love of God, like put it in your calendar. You can't miss it because I know for me, my calendar pops up and it's like walk 3 p.m. walk, and it's like I have to physically snooze it, and then you get sick of snoozing it. So then you finally are like, all right, I gotta move my ass. Um, and see if you can keep it at the same time all the time so that, it becomes part of your routine. Excuse me. So I don't have to make a lot of decisions, right? I don't have to make a lot of excuses. I know I always work out first thing in the morning. Boom, it's done. Like I block out, like I don't have any appointments before 10 a.m. 9 times out of 10 because I know I'm working out in the morning and I want to be able to like get home, shower, eat, then start my day. That's me, but you have to find your rhythm. And then make it sustainable. Like, can you do this when you're tired, when you're busy, when Mercury is in retrograde, the moon is full, kids have the flu, right? If the answer is no, how do you make that small adjustment? Right? I'm always big into if then statements. Like, if I can't do it then like I always have in the back of my hand, it's a blah, blah, blah. I have a plan B. And I think it's because in my former life, I was an event planner. And as an event planner, you always have to plan for shit to hit the fan, right? A box not show up. A venue says they have something, they have X, but they don't have X. And so you have to either find a way to get X or, if someone misses their flight, you always have to kind of be on your toes. No wonder I was such a freaking stress ball back then. God love you. All right. Um, and then the final step, reimagine, right? That's been my word for the last couple of years is reimagine, right? Look forward, not to the fantasy version of yourself, but to the version of yourself who's got their shit together. They're working their reps consistently. And ask yourself, how do I want to feel when the new year hits? Like, what do I want to be proud of? Like, do I want to be that person that I talked about that shows up on January 1st and they're rocking it? And then by like middle of January, they're like, eh. And then by like President's Day, they're like, eh. And then by March, peace. I need to find something else. I don't want that for you. So, what do you want to be proud of when you look back at the season? What rhythm do you want to carry forward? How do we kind of, adjust the rhythm, I kind of feel like adjust our volume, if you will, like as our seasons go on. And notice that I'm not asking like what you want to weigh or what size jeans you want to fit in. I'm asking because I want you to learn how to feel. We as women over 40, we've completely like disbanded how we feel and we've just outsourced it. We're like, if I don't weigh a certain amount, if my jean size is in a certain amount, if my belly's not flat, if this, versus do I feel like I'm running around the chicken with my head cut off? Do I feel like I'm always like scrolling and clicking, trying to find the next best thing? Versus, do I feel happy? Do I feel satisfied after I eat? Am I done always trying to figure out the good food, bad food list? Like, ask yourself these questions, right? I'm asking you because I want you to find something that sustains you for the long run. And then when we find that, we can always tweak it. And I want you to think about like, are you done with like trying to feel like you're trying to keep these empty promises to yourself, or you're trying to really like find the promise that you can actually keep? Are you wanting to like feel strong? Are you wanting to feel like you aren't constantly abandoning yourself when shit got hard? I had a client a couple years ago, and we were working towards maintenance. And finding maintenance is hard, especially if you've been a dieter for a really long time. And she's like, Kim, maintenance isn't for me. No, maintenance is for you, but guess what? It's hard and you don't want to do hard things. You want the slam dunk. And I really wish maintenance was a slam dunk. And I really wish that some people didn't gain weight in maintenance. I really do. But most people gain weight in maintenance because they had been under eating for so damn long that their body's finally like, thank the Lord, you're feeding me something. And once we hit that maintenance, top heavy maintenance, then we can start to strip things away and find that deficit. But for many women, myself included, I ate in a deficit for so long that my body needed to put on a little weight to start to trust me again. Because for so long, I beat the shit out of it. Right. And for us, it's like finding that sustainability is really, that's our North Star, right? Finding that I can start to trust myself around food, that I'm no longer saying, oh, I can't have that. Like, oh, I'm not going to go to that event, or, oh, I got to eat before I go. Like, we're starting to say that I'm not abandoning myself. So that's the North Star, not the scale, not the before and after photos, like the feeling that like I can do these things and know that I can have some fun foods. I can have a cocktail, maybe two, and not lose my shit, right? Because the real truth is that life isn't going to get easier, right? The holidays are always going to come. Work is always going to be chaotic. There's always going to be vacation. There's always going to be a kid sick, or you having to shuttle a kid here, there, and everywhere. Your period's going to show up at the worst possible moment. You're going to have a hot flash in the middle of something. right? So your plan can't require perfect conditions because that's only going to happen a handful of times. We have to learn how to work with the mess. And that's why I'm not telling you to meal prep for the week or wake up at 5 a.m. or cut out sugar. I'm telling you it's time to start learning how to practice the reps, even when it's hard, even when you think you suck at it, because we all suck at things at first. Like think about like when your kid first started to walk. They did the drunken sailor, the pull up, the kind of like the scoot. Then eventually like they started to walk and then they still a little wobbly on their feet, but eventually they got the hang of it, right? And now they're like pros. So some days the workouts look like a full workout. Some days they look like a 10-minute walk. Some days they look like just putting on your shoes. Some days it's tracking your food and just logging 3 things that day. Other days, you're lucky if you remember breakfast. I get it. It all counts because we're building the habit of showing up, right? Not the habit of being perfect because so many of us think showing up is being perfect. And no, perfect is killing you, slowly killing you. And that's the difference between women who make it past President's Day and the women who have to keep resetting every January, resetting every Monday, right? They've practiced being boring. They've practiced showing up when it ain't exciting. They've practiced doing it even when they don't feel like it. Not because they're more disciplined, not because they have more willpower, but because they've built their reps that actually fit their life. And let this land, right? If there's one thing I want you to take is that you don't need to wait till January. You need reps and they start right now. Realistic, excited, planned, sustainable. You've spent enough years trying to hustle your way into transformation. Enough rounds at this time will be different. Enough 30-day fixes, enough 6 week fixes, uh, enough waking up on December 31st and saying, this is the year, waiting for that magic fairy dust to come sprinkling down from the sky. It won't, but you can. So before the end of the year, take some time, review, reset, or reimagine. Ask yourself, what's worth carrying forward? And what do I finally have to put down for the love of God? And if you want help building your plan, I've got 2 things for you. One, I've got a free 5-day audio series, Slay the Season Without Losing Your Shit. It's bite-sized audio coaching. You can do 1 episode a day. You can do a nice binge. Each episode is 15 minutes or less, and it walks you through how to finish your year without burning out or starting over. You'll learn how to plan for the chaos, how to keep your energy up, and actually enjoy the holidays without undoing any progress you've made thus far. Second, I'm hosting a free live Q&A on the 19th of November. So bring your questions, your goals, or the things you haven't been working on, and let's figure out your reps. No scripts, no BS, just real talk, what it takes to build something that lasts. My friends, you're not broken. You're not behind. You're just overdue for a better rep scenario. And I'm here to help you build that. All right, Magic Makers, I will absolutely talk to you guys next week. Enjoy the rest of your week. And please, 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 if you are around on November 19th, I would love to see you. Feel free to grab that free 5 episode audio. The link is in the show notes. All right, talk soon.